Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here. I got another one of those decks I promised you, but I did want to make sure that I got out my Utopia build before this. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to see that. I think it's pretty good. I hope that you guys liked it. But today we're going to be doing the S-Force or the Security Force deck. And it's actually pretty darn cool, guys. I really think that you guys are going to enjoy this one. So without too much, let's just get straight into that list. So again, we're at the start of a meta. So I'm going to be running my 3 copies of Ash Blossom. And again, we want to stop interactions with the opponent's deck. S-Force had a lot of light-dark play, so I wanted to throw in 1 BLS just as like a kind of generic fun like tech card. Obviously, if you guys don't like him, don't play him. We got 2 copies, Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. Another great card that helps you build advantage and actually get into better hands. We got the single copy of Dog Tag. He's kind of cool. I didn't find space for more than 1, though. The new card, Edge Razor. Very cool Cyber's character. Very good look to him. Maximize this one at 3. Also at 3 is going to be the S-Force Gravitino. Another very cool card. We're going to have 2 copies of Aurafist, kind of like our little quick draw cowboy character. Pretty cool looking guy. We got 3 copies of Platina. She's really cool. Nice spellcaster for this build. And probably one of the best cards in the deck, S-Force Rapachiamaru. And again, I like how these guys are just all scattered with their typing. It's going to make things a lot easier. And this one being a warrior, you're going to see a reinforcement of the army here in a second. Going into my spells, I'm going to be running 3 pots of Extravagance. The extra deck matters, but it doesn't matter too much. The things that really matter are going to be like the, what was the new guy? Justify. So again, we're going to maximize anything we absolutely need, but for the most part, like just shuffle your extra deck before you play it. Again, there's the 1 reinforcement of the army. We're going to maximize the field spell here. We got the 3 copies S-Force Bridgehead. We're going to maximize out Showdown, which was kind of a spectacular card for just a common quick play. We got our 1 Terraforming in here. Moving over to the traps, we've got 3 copies of Chase. We're going to run Double Specimen and like another one of those like really cool tech cards that, again, this is one of those decks that can use it. 3 copies, there can be only 1. And again, the scattered typing just really makes a card like this just so much better, obviously. But it's very satisfying when you can resolve this. Just seriously. Moving over to the extra deck real quick. A lot of standard plays here today. We're going to see like the 1 copy Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. Good card, great card. Single copy Boral Sword Dragon. Good card, great card. Single copy IP Masquerada. I mean, what else do you want me to say? We're going to double up on all the nightmares. We got double Cerberus. We got our double Phoenix today. And we got our double Unicorn today. So that's cool. We did want to trip out on Justify, and we will explain why he points only at the opponent. It kind of looks like a misplay, but I promise you it's not. So you guys are going to enjoy that. Card I don't resolve terribly often, and again, if you wanted another IP Masquerena, if you have it, this would be a good spot for it. Would be Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. And then 2 copies Update Jammer, probably one of my favorite new, and it's not even new, but one of my favorite new to me Link monsters. So guys, if you were just here for the deck list, again, thank you guys for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Really brightens up my days. Thanks for watching. And have a great day. Just have a great day. I'm not going to bother you with that bit today. Everybody else, let's go ahead and get into some card effects and why we made our choices. And I know somebody out there is going to ask, where's Digamma? Well, let's get that out of the way right quick, okay? So I just kept a copy over here. We didn't run this guy at all. Reason being is his effects are kind of lackluster in the Link era. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as this one cannot change its battle position. That's fine. Links don't have anything other than attack mode. And if it's normal or special summon, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls, change its battle position. And again, if your opponent's got a very strong link board, this isn't going to matter. So again, there just wasn't a whole lot of play for that. You know, if this deck had been released maybe 5 years ago, again, without the link, this card might have been worth playing. But as it stands today, not as much. So going back into the main deck, again, 40 cards. The Ash Blossoms are here because it's the beginning of a meta. Thank you to the July ban list. And again, this is going to help us stop our opponent from interacting with their deck. BLS, just like my favorite boss character to just drop in light and dark builds. And again, we can get some spot removal, and we can also press advantage as long as we can run over a monster and we can get 2 attacks in a round. Over to some more standardized plays. Fantastical Dragon Phantasme 2. If the opponent special summons a link monster or monsters, except during damage step, you can special summon this from the hand, draw cards equal to the amount of links plus 1 that they control. Then you put back into your deck whatever the X is. So you get to kind of like change your hand. So if they have 2, it's X equals 2, so X plus 1 is 3. Put 2 from your hand back into your deck, and I think it goes to the bottom. Nope, shuffle them back. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a monster or monsters you control as a quick effect, you can discard a card, negate the activation, and destroy the card, activating each effect once per turn. So again, we do get to summon on our opponent's turn, and then we get to threaten the other effect. So he's very cool, very good backup for this. We do have the 1 dog tag. He's a 5-star. During the main phase, your opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters. If your opponent, normal or special, summons a monsters while you control an S-Force monster, except during damage step, you can special summon this from the hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. So he's kind of cool. He kind of jumps to the field. Again, I kind of wish I had space for one more, but, you know, the way this is set up, I actually like the deck. And again, this is another one of those decks that just sort of plays like Mech Knights almost, because we're dealing with column play. We do have Edge Razor. He's one of our 4-stars. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters cannot be used as material for a link summon of a link 3 or higher. So again, we can try to stall or cut out our opponent's link summoning to an extent. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can special summon an S-Force from your hand in attack position except Edge Razor. You can only use this effect once per turn. So again, he's going to set us up to build our board, and he's kind of one of the best. So I do like him. Gravitino, another 5-star here. This time Psychic typing. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters. Let me try that again. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters is banished when it leaves the field. So we're not going to deal with the graveyard. It's going to mimic a little bit of like Dimensional Fissure, Macrocosmos in this instance. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 S-Force card from deck to hand except Gravitino using this effect only once per turn. So again, this is going to be good for tutoring. This is why we wanted it 3. Decent stat at 2,000. We do have Aurifist. We are limiting this one to 2, and I think you'll see why here in a half second. Your opponent cannot target any of their monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters with card effects. That's okay. When a monster your opponent controls activates its effect, quick effect, you can banish an S-Force card from your hand, destroy the monster. Use this effect once per turn. Very similar to not Ash Blossom, but Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. And still going to give us a little bit of control, but not a terribly large amount. So again, 2. Platina is going to be a nice 6-star for us. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters loses 600 attack. We're going to cause a nice imbalance here. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one of your banished S-Force monsters except Platina. Special summon it. Awesome. Use each effect once per turn. That's pretty cool. And then you got Chio, probably the best starter. 2-star. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force can only target that monster for attacks. So again, we're going to like pick and choose our battles now. And with Platino, we're going to be able to go against higher powered cards. Second effect here, quick effect. Banish an S-Force card from your hand. Return this card to the hand. And if you do, special summon 1 S-Force monster from your deck of defense not named Chiyomaru. Use this effect once per turn. And again, this is going to help us with a lot of effects. So again, use them. Again, Pots of Extravagance. We're going to banish between 3 and 6. Your choice, face down. It's random. Draw 1 card for every 3 that you banished by this effect. For the remainder of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot draw any cards by card effects. And this does have to be your first play of your turn. That needs to be noted. Which is why we maximize certain cards or increase the ratios in our extra deck. We're sort of using it as a semi-pot of fodder, so that's cool. Reinforcement of the Army, strictly for Chio. Bridgehead, good field spell, great field spell. When this card is activated, you can add 1 S-Force monster from your deck to your hand, so immediately causing a replenishment to the hand and a nice tutor. When your opponent's monster declares an attack on your S-Force monster in the same column, and again, with Chio on the field, they have to attack the one in the same column. You can activate this effect. The monster you control may not be destroyed by battle. You can only use this effect once per turn. You can only activate 1 copy of this spell per turn. So, very cool. Showdown, quick play spell. Activate one of the following. Either special summon 1 S-Force from your hand in defense mode, or target an S-Force in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Either way, I don't see an issue with this card. Good card, great card. This is going to help us build for our link plays. Terraforming to make sure that we get to the bridgehead quicker. Let's talk the traps now. So we got S-Force Chase first. Target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of S-Force monsters you control with different names. Return them to the hand. If an S-Force monster you control would banish a card or cards from the hand, to activate its effect, you can banish this card from the graveyard instead. Use each effect only once per turn. So we're going to get a multiple compulsory evacuation effect off of this, which can help us clear up fields and interrupt combos. But additionally, it's going to further our own plays by being able to banish this in the discard rather than losing a card in our hand and protecting the resource. This is why we maximize this trap. We also have 2 copies of Specimen. If your opponent controls a monster, generally they almost always will, target one of your S-Force monsters that is either banished or in your graveyard. Again, we're going to have a lot of that going on. Special summon it to your field in the same column as the opponent's monster. You can banish this card from the graveyard, target an S-Force monster you control, move that target to another one of your main zones using each effect using only 1 effect per turn and only once that turn. Okay, so it's an either-or scenario. It's very like the Shaddolls in this aspect. But we either get to special summon a card back, which again, we can go ahead with our link builds, or we can move one for a more favorable matchup based on their effects, which is also very good. And then again, the 3 copies, there can be only 1. And again, I'm going to have to do a card of the week on this because honestly it deserves it. And when I do, I will do Rivalry of Warlords and Gozen Match at the same time because they all follow the same ruling. This says each player can only control 1 monster of each type at a time. If a player controls 2 or more of the same type, they have to send cards to the graveyard till they only control 1 of a singular type. Again, a couple weeks ago when Dragon Link was still at like peak performance, if your opponent had 5 dragons on the field, they had to pick 1 to keep. And then again, if they had a dragon on the field, it didn't matter if they had, let's just say they were going to go from LP to Striker or Striker to LP or whatever. Since they would already have a dragon on the field, it would react much the same way as Gozen Rivalry. Since they already have one, they cannot try to play another one. So again, this slows down a lot of good decks. And honestly, it's just fun to play. And this deck can take advantage of that. So why wouldn't you? Let's go back over to our extra deck, shall we? Again, Appaloosa, we're here to block effects. So again, 2+ monsters, different names, not counting tokens. You can only control 1 of these at a time, sort of like a Magic the Gathering legendary. The original attack of this becomes 800 times in monsters used as link material. Once per chain, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, make this card lose exactly 800, and if you do, negate the activation. Very good for control. Boros Sword is going to be like the budget access code talker. Honestly, if you had it, play it. This needs 3+ effects for a link 4. Cannot be destroyed by battle. Once per turn, quick effect. Target a face-up attack position monster. Change it to defense. Also, this card can make a second attack during every battle phase during this turn. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. Once per turn, when this card declares an attack on a face-up monster, you can activate this effect. Until the end of this turn, this card gains attack equal to half that monster's current attack, and if it does, the other monster loses that same amount. So it's very much like the old spell card Roroku, which again, this allows Borrelsword to push over a lot of monsters, and as long as your opponent doesn't have just a Link base build on the field, you will be able to get the first effect and be able to take care of two monsters at the same time. IP Masquerena, we want to play during the opposing turn. Cerberus, discard a card on Link Summon, target a special summon monster and destroy it. Phoenix, same effect for Spell Trap. Unicorn, similar effect, sealing a card back into the opponent's deck. Justify, let's take a second. So Link 3 requires 3 effect monsters. One of them has to be an S-Force. You cannot summon or set monsters to a zone or zone this card points to. Quick effect, you can target a face-up effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn, then move that opponent's monster to their monster zone this card points to. You can only use this effect once per turn. At the start of the damage step, if this card attacks, you can banish all monsters this card points to. So again, we're not trying to do like some sort of like superior, we start in one zone, we play this guy like down over here so that we can try to play into the other extra zone. We're really just trying to line up our opponent's monsters, placing them into what I would like dub the danger zone of those 3 zones, and then be able to wipe them off the field without even having to actually target them for the attack. We can target somebody else for the attack and still get to wipe those 3 out, or up to 3. Really helps us deal with threats. Again, Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, I have it because I have it, and that's why it's in here. If you have something else that you'd much rather play, again, something maybe a little more budget, I'm not sure what the price on her is at the moment, feel free to. This is just my personal tech. Again, this allows me to use an additional monster from my opponent's side of the field as material. I like to pair this off with IP Masquerena. That takes care of like 3 of the 5. I just have to have another IP Masquerena plus 2 other cards on my side of the field to let me do this. If it is Link Summoned, you can negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. This Link Summon card is unaffected by opponent's activated effects unless they target this card specifically. Once per turn, when the opponent activates a card or effect that special summons a monsters from the graveyard, we can, as a quick effect, negate that. So it's kind of got a control aspect. It sort of lets us link Kaiju. It's just kind of cool, and that's the reason I play it. Now, let's get into the last card. This card actually, I was digging through, and I was like, what can I play? What can I play? I saw Update Jammer. I saw that I hadn't played it, but I collected them. I decided to reread it and go, yeah, I want this. So 2 level 2 or higher Cybers. And again, if you go through the deck, you'll see that we have that. Once per battle during damage calculation, if your Cybers monster battles, quick effect, you can activate this effect and negate all other card effects on the field until the end of the damage step. Damage calculation for this battle uses each monster's original attack and defense. Also, if an opponent's monster is destroyed by this battle and sent to the graveyard, inflict 1,000 damage to the opponent. If this card is sent to the graveyard as Link material, that Link monster can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. Okay, so honestly, I did use this somewhat as a step up until I go into my Nightmare Unicorn or to go into Appaloosa. I used it once for Justify. I just like getting an additional attack. To me, that was fun. But additionally, since there are some more Cybers cards in here, you can get that effect. The issue here is this. You got to watch out with there can be only one. So, yeah, obviously, if you already have that in play, this is not a card you're going to. At which point, Pot of Extravagance, if it hits it, no harm, no foul. But if you don't have your copy, there can be only one already fielded, already active, there are some shenanigans that you can get into. And again, for Justify, this isn't terrible. It allows us to do a little more. There are better cards. Again, my decks are really just templates, guys. I do hope that you enjoy these decks. But I do hope that if it doesn't work quite the same for you that it did for me, I do hope that you guys are modifying these to make them more to your own personal play style. That is kind of like the bread and butter of every trading card game I've ever been a part of, which is like over 3 dozen. So yeah, I really hope that you guys are out there just experimenting with some cards and having a great time. Again, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this. It means a whole lot. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. And more importantly, I hope that you guys have a great day. So with that said, I'll see you guys on the next video. Later.